The Average Adventurer presents the top 5 camping mistakes. This is just a reminder that this list is entirely my opinion over the research that I've done and are not listed in any particular order. I hope you find this enjoyable, and I hope that we all can avoid making these mistakes to making our outdoor experience much more fun. Number 5, forgetting essential gear. Imagine leaving your house and you forget something and you simply have the ability to just turn around and go get it. Not a big deal, right? But imagine sun's going down, you're camping, you're out in the woods, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't really know where you're at, and you realize you forgot the proper items to start a fire with, or you didn't bring the proper sleeping bag for the weather, or you didn't bring the right clothing, or any other essential type item that you might have that could make your experience better. If you forget these items, you could have a really bad time out in the woods. What would be recommended? Creating a checklist, making sure you pack and double pack to make sure the things you have, because something simple as forgetting your proper item or essential item can easily be avoided. Number 4, not having a plan about water. When you're camping in the back of your yard or at a family campground, not having water may not be necessarily an issue for you because there's always the camp store just walking into your house. But let's pretend you're on a trail or you're backpacking or something like that, where if you get lost, you're gonna need water. And not planning for water could completely devastate your trip. And it could also be very dangerous for you. So you need to have a plan of having proper water storage with you, whether that's bringing something like a life straw or some kind of filtration system, or just packing enough water to where it's not going to hold you down or have too much weight on you, but definitely something that you're going to have in case of an emergency. Number 3, understanding the weather. Checking the weather seems like a very obvious thing, but believe it or not, people just don't do it. You want to make sure you know whether it's going to rain, snow, sleet, hail, or something you've never seen before. And just imagine this, you go camping, you're in a hammock, and you weren't planning for rain. Well, if you don't have a tarp over top of you, you're going to be soaking wet. So understanding that it may not be life-threatening conditions, it could definitely ruin your time and put a really bad taste in your mouth for the experience that you're going to have. Number 2, bringing gear you have no idea how to use. The last place you want to be practicing using your gear is while you're camping. Not understanding how to use certain items can not only make your experience less enjoyable, but it could also be a safety risk with others. And the last thing you want to do is rely on gear and you don't know how to use it, and turns out if you needed something, whether it's an emergency or safety or cooking or heat or water, and you don't know how to use it, it could spoil your time. And number 1, know little or nothing about where you are camping. Not knowing anything about where you're going or the terrain you're going to be at is something that only experts should consider. It's the difference between getting lost somewhere and being safe. Now, if you're at a local campground, probably not an issue. There's going to be a lot of supervision, a lot of people around. Your local parks should be pretty well supervised. But these are for people who are, going off on trails and camping. You got to consider some things like, what's the actual terrain like? What's the vegetation like? What kind of animals are around? Am I allowed or not allowed to camp here? So a lot of things to consider, and can potentially be very dangerous. But if you follow these rules, it should be okay.